After a number of weeks, a holiday, and what feels like an eternity since Chelsea last won a game, I'm back, your host. I've returned to unravel this wild, wild round of Premier League action. We all know the big one, that massive result at Anfield. But before we can get into that one, we're going to start things off with the first game of the round, which was Manchester City 2, Newcastle 0. And this result here just kind of keeps City right on Arsenal's tail. Pressure is still on Arsenal. City with a clinical result here. 2-0. No Haaland on the score sheet, but Phil Foden, what a goal he scored. Bernardo Silva as well, the unsung hero of Manchester City, produces yet again. And with this result, it put the pressure on Arsenal, who were playing just a couple hours later. But job done at the Etihad, 2-0. But I want to talk about Newcastle here. Things are not going great for them at the minute. They've now dropped down to 6th spot. They are winless in, 5 or so. They've got 2 losses in a row, 3 draws before that. And their season is slowly just getting worse and worse. It's not looking good for them. And I mean, they're out of European football right now. And if they're not careful, they could slip down as far as 8th or 9th before season's end. So they're going to need to turn it around, because I know this game was tough, and probably a game against City at the Etihad is a write-off. You're probably not going to get 3 points, or maybe even a point. But they need to turn their season back around, because they were looking really good. Had European football in their hands, and it's slowly slipping away from them now, and they're falling down the pecking order. And what was once a fantastic season is now turning into a very average season if they're not careful. So they need to fix that quick. But City, job done. They march on. They're just taking things week by week until they play Arsenal again, and hopefully pick up another 3 points there. But now, finally, I can get into a Chelsea win. I haven't been here the last few weeks. Tony's been covering it, Morty as well. I don't know. It feels like forever since Chelsea have won a game. But finally, it's happened at the Bridge. And this result, it wasn't pretty. Look, 1-0 scoreline. We want to be scoring more goals than that. But I'll take a win at this point. I'll take a clean sheet. Goal didn't come from a striker, that's for sure. It came from Wesley Fofana. But again, I'll take whatever comes our way at this point. This game, though, started brilliantly. Pretty much all game, we looked as though we're really in control and playing fluid, attacking football with pace. And it's what we've been missing for so long now. And again, as I said, the goals haven't really funneled in just yet, the 1-0 scoreline, but we're attacking. We're playing better football. We're playing positive attacking football, and hopefully the goals will come. Havertz had a couple good chances. João Felix had some decent chances as well. And yeah, it's looking better up top, but we do need to convert more chances, because the longer the game went on, you're giving Leeds a chance to get back into it. 1-0 scoreline, it's a scary one in football, that's for sure. You don't want to be defending a 1-0 lead. But lucky for us, the clean sheet, we got it over the line. A couple ones for this one, though. Thiago Silva obviously out now for a while. But Koulibaly and Wesley Fofana and Badiashile look good. They look solid at the back. Played the 5 at the back again. Ruben Loftus-Cheek playing right wing back. Reece James not there. But yeah, things are starting to click into gear. Hopefully we take this momentum into tomorrow morning's game against Dortmund, turn that around, advance in the Champions League, fingers crossed, and then build on this one win that we've had for however long. Build on this towards the end of the season, and maybe, just maybe, sneak into 5th spot. It's probably out of reach, but look, just finish the season strongly and build towards next season. But Leeds, however, they're sitting around that relegation zone. They're really in a battle there, so they need to pick up some results quick, smart. They've got, obviously, no Jesse Marsh at the helm now, so things need to turn around for them, or they could definitely find themselves relegated come season's end. Now let's get into the league leaders, and boy, did they have to work for this one. Arsenal 3-2 over Bournemouth. I mean, things couldn't have started better for Bournemouth and worse for Arsenal. What was it, 9 seconds? Philip Billing scores the first goal of the game, gives Bournemouth a 1-0 lead at the Emirates. Then it was 2. And it wasn't until the 62nd minute where Arsenal finally got on the score sheet and started to turn the game around. 62nd, Ben White gets his first Arsenal goal, 70th minute. And then 97th minute, Reece Nelson, the hero, Arsenal fan he is, and he's been there a while, and boy, did he just repay everything to that club just then. The fans will love him after that result, because what was looking like 0 points or even just the one turned into 3, and now they continue to have a 5-point lead at the top of the table over City, and that's vital. Their last few weeks now, they got that result against Villa, got the result here against Bournemouth, the result against United as well. We added time. It's just these results that is what makes champions, and I don't want to say it. Being a Chelsea fan, I hate to see it happen, but they are very much looking like champions right now. You've got to dig deep a few games a season, and they're having theirs. Maybe it's a little bit of luck their way, but things are working out for them as of now. Yes, they still have to play City at the Etihad. Maybe that's 3 points gone automatically there, but then the gap's still 2 points. And I do fancy City to slip up again, maybe even Arsenal as well. But things are looking good for Arsenal. They're grinding out results, and this one was just, the scenes that unraveled afterwards were crazy. But yeah, it shouldn't have even started 2-0. Let's look at the stats here. 4 shots on target for Bournemouth compared to Arsenal's 31 shots and 9 on target. Domination from start to finish for Arsenal, albeit a couple goals in their own net there. But 81% possession, 740 passes. Geez, you look at this. Had you have seen the score at 2-0 and thought, how on earth are they trailing here? They had 17 corners to 1 for Bournemouth. You look at the stats and you think, yeah, that's an easy 3 points for Arsenal. But they got it, but it wasn't easy in the end. But kudos to them, the top of the table. And as I said, results like these are the ones that win you championships. And could it happen? Maybe. I don't know. But Bournemouth now, obviously got to touch on them. They started the season quite good, but now they're sitting in bottom spot. They're probably going to go down. I can't see things getting any easier for them, unfortunately for them. So what could have been a nice little win here, or even a snag a draw at the Emirates, turns into a loss, and it kind of just continues how their season's going recently. But let's get into Aston Villa. 1-0, Unai Emery wins again over Palace. And for me, I feel like I haven't seen Crystal Palace win a game in quite a while, and yet they're still very safe from relegation, and Patrick Vieira's job doesn't seem to be threatened as of yet. But yeah, I just feel like I haven't seen them win a game for a while. Haven't seen them really producing good performances recently. But Villa, on the other hand, they're on the up. They had a couple bad results in there, but now 2 wins on the trot. They're sitting 11th, equal points with Chelsea on 34, and they're climbing the ladder slowly and finishing off what started out to be a very poor season under Steven Gerrard. So kudos to them. Crystal Palace had a red card in this one. But yeah, Joachim Andersen with the own goal. Wasn't pretty, but a 1-0 scoreline. Again, like Chelsea, you take it at home and you kick on to next week. Speaking of clean sheets, though, 4-0 for Brighton. 4-0 over West Ham. Brighton are looking very, very solid this season. They're sitting in 8th. Had a couple up and down results recently, but a huge win over West Ham. And I know West Ham's not performing at the best this season. They're definitely in that relegation fight. But what a job Roberto De Zerbi has done since joining Brighton after Graham Potter moving to Chelsea. And he's just kind of continued the work that Potter put in place there, playing beautiful football, and a 4-0 result here, just tearing them apart. You had the likes of Matoma on the score sheet, McAllister, even Danny Welbeck getting on the score sheet. So things are very good for the Seagulls at the minute. They're in 8th spot. They're thereabouts, knocking on the door of Europe. Will I think do that? Do I think they get that? No, I don't. But fantastic season so far, and hopefully they can continue the run in and finish strongly for them. Again, West Ham though, much like the Leeds, they need to be careful because they have not had a good season in the slightest and are seriously battling relegation here. David Moyes' job's safe as it stands, but he's got to be careful because West Ham going down would be shocking for them, especially after the seasons they've put together recently, some great seasons, and getting European football. But yeah, not looking good for West Ham. Things need to change quick. And now a team that is falling down again. Tottenham. what's happened to them? 1-0 loss here at the Molineux. And what was a safe fourth spot for them is now turned into a shaky one because Liverpool are knocking on their door, trying to take that UCL spot from them. And Tottenham they've obviously had a couple of wins here and there, but they're just not playing good football at the minute. A 1-0 loss here, it's just not looking good for them. They need to be careful because, as I said, Liverpool's knocking on their door and they should have had that fourth spot kind of wrapped up. They should be pushing with United for that third spot, and they're kind of now falling into that rest of the pack that Liverpool are leading at the minute. Chelsea are not even in there at the minute, unfortunately. But yeah, Spurs have to be careful because if they're not careful, fourth spot will slip away from them. Now, Wolves starting to steady out their season. They started very badly. We know they were sitting on the bottom of the table for quite some time, but now they're just stabilising the ship with Lopetegui in there at the helm. They're now sitting in 13th. And again, can they finish strong? Can they just kind of give themselves a pat on the back for the second half of the season and push for next season? Because it didn't start well. There's obviously no European football on the cards. Can they just kind of ride out the season and push towards next season? And now, Leicester 1-0 loss to Southampton. Southampton were bottom of the table going into this game, but a massive result for them. Another 1-0 and a home win, for this round. I think pretty much every team was a home win this round, which is pretty crazy. But yes, Carlos Alcatraz, the new signing, has hit the ground running for the Saints and given them a much-needed 1-0 win over Leicester. Roman, I can't remember his Sellers, possibly his last name, the now permanent manager, until the end of the season for the Saints, picks up a massive win, and now they are 2 wins from the last 3, one of those being against Chelsea. They're sitting in 19th still, but this was a huge win. And again, momentum is everything in football. Take that and push on towards the end of the season because they are obviously in a relegation fight and they need some wins early doors to grind out results and get out of that. Still going down as it stands, but yeah, massive win for them against, I suppose, another relegation bound team, possibly. I mean, they're sitting in 15th, but it is neck and neck there. They're only, 3 points ahead of them now. So there's quite a few teams that are fighting relegation. And I suppose this one was a 6-pointer. And Southampton, the home side, take all 3 points. And they'll kick on for next week. And now another, I suppose, relegation 6-pointer. Nottingham Forest 2-2 with Everton. And this was a crazy game. Goals galore. Started out early. I think it was, 29 minutes it took for there to be 3 goals in this game. Cracker of a game. Brennan Johnson, what a player he is. A young star, under 21. He is brilliant. And it shouldn't be long before he gets a call up to a bigger team, goes moving, because he is playing very, very good football for Nottingham Forest. And this game was another display of that. They're sitting in 14th now, 26 points. They've got a little bit of a points gap above the, I suppose, relegated teams. But again, it's very tight there. Everton would have liked to get the 3 points here, and they could have had it. But again, some individual brilliance by Brennan Johnson makes that not happen. Tough game. Probably a deserved result, I'd say, based on the way the game was going. I watched this one live and the stats as well. But Everton, I think, will feel more hard done by knowing they had the lead at their hands. They had 3 points and they'll have to settle for 1. And it keeps them in that 18th spot, unfortunately. But now, look, we're not going to rival for too long where any of these teams will flip straight through them. It's time for the big one. And if you're reading that, it's correct. It's not a joke. Liverpool put 7 past Manchester United at Anfield, handing them their heaviest defeat in 93 years, I believe. The biggest defeat in this fixture ever. I mean, speechless watching this game. Speechless. Liverpool weren't playing amazing, and yet somehow goal after goal after goal just continued to go in. Gakpo got a double. Nunez got a double. Salah got a double. Firmino come off the bench and got a goal himself. I mean, wow, if you had said this result to me before the game, I mean, nobody would have believed you, that's for sure. But what happened to Manchester United here? They just, I don't know, they didn't turn up. Liverpool, I can't even say they did turn up. They just put everything away. They had 8 shots on target and 7 of them were goals. I mean, I could only imagine being a United fan watching this game thinking, oh, another one. They just kept going in. Couldn't stop them. I mean, yeah, wow. And I suppose United were knocking on the door. They kind of like to say they were in a title fight still, title race. They just won the Carabao Cup, put out a tweet saying the Ten Hag era has begun, and then this is the result they produced after that tweet. As I said, speechless. Liverpool just utterly dominant at Anfield here. And now they have put together some very impressive results and are, again, knocking on the door of Spurs. And top 4 is looking very likely because just like Chelsea, they started very poorly. We were joking around with them thinking who's having the worst season. But, yeah, they've fixed their mistakes and they're looking good. Wow. I don't know what to say. United just, from start to finish, just kind of weren't on it. They had a couple of decent chances, but Liverpool, although they didn't play amazing at times, I think they just scored their chances. They took their chances and made Manchester United pay. I mean, wow! I can't believe it. Nobody could believe it. Everybody was just laughing when this game was going on because you just thought, surely they're not going to score again, and they did. And I think if there was another 20 minutes in this game might have finished 10-0 because it just seemed like every time Liverpool attacked, it was goal. It was a goal. Coupled errors on United's part, although Bruno Fernandes lost the ball in a vital spot, kind of just a cheap giveaway, and then Liverpool score, and it was much the same for a lot of the goals. But take no mistake away from some of these goals. Brilliant finishes. Darwin Nunez is clicking into gear. So is Cody Gakpo. They were missing Mane for a lot of this season, but they're starting to get things right at the top there. And Mohamed Salah, 2 goals, 2 assists. Gakpo double, as I said, Nunez double. Things are looking good for that front line, and it's a scary sight because if they can play like they did today, if they can take the chances like they did this game, then, put the Prem on notice. Liverpool could be back. Manchester United going to have to regroup after this one. It's a wild result. They're craziest I can ever remember. And I'm sure Ten Hag would not be impressed and will most likely switch him into gear. Give him a slap on the head and say, get your shit together again, because I can't see that happening anytime soon again. We move on to next week. That was wild. That was seriously wild. But before, obviously, we wrap things up, we get into the final game of the round. The betting man, the man who's facing a ban, wins the game, thereabouts, for Brentford. 3-2 over Fulham. It was a London derby, a close London derby, but Brentford take all 3 points. Ivan Toney scores from the penalty spot again. I think it's 11 from 11 now. 100% record from the penalty spot, but I don't know when his ban's going to come in place for those betting scandals. He's confirmed guilty, I believe. So he's facing a ban. Don't know when it's going to come in, but for now, he's just continuing to score goals and win Brentford games. Pretty wild game, this one. 3-2, though. I think Brentford deserved the 3 points, and they're sitting in 9th now. Fulham, yes, it's a loss here, but, I mean, what an impressive season they're having. They're still sitting in 7th. This is wild because I wouldn't have thought both these two teams would have been up there. But kudos to them both, having fantastic seasons. I think Fulham, yet again, are kind of missing Mitrovic a little bit here. He played, but when he's not scoring goals, they're not really winning games. So I think that's kind of been the story of their season. But take nothing away from Marco Silva because what a job he's done there. But likewise, what a job Thomas Frank has done at Brentford. So that's where we're going to leave it. Wild round. I just can't even believe it. You still can't wrap your head around that massive result. But look, the Premier League is the Premier League. We'll probably see something just as wild next week, and I can't wait to get into that. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you.